It was Wang Lin's seemingly casual summoning of his fiery divine power that frightened the flame dragon. In that moment, the flame dragon could clearly feel the origin of fire emanating from Wang Lin's body. The flame dragon itself also possessed the origin of fire, but compared to Wang Lin's, its power was far weaker. Faced with Wang Lin, it had no courage to fight back. In a state of horror, as the flame dragon retreated quickly, Wang Lin remained calm, his gaze sweeping over the fiery form of the dragon. He raised his right hand, and with a single motion, crushed the flame in his palm. A wave of intense heat surged from Wang Lin's palm, rolling outward in all directions. He didn't chase after the flame dragon. Instead, he calmly formed a hand seal. This seal was given to him by the second-generation vermilion bird, a seal used to control the flame dragon. As the seal took effect, the flame dragon, which had retreated far, let out a miserable scream. A matching mark appeared on its forehead, burned deeply into its head, etched into its bones and soul. You vermilion birds are all the same. You're not good. It hurts so much. You said you'd let me go, but you left me with this damned mark. The flame dragon's fiery body collapsed, revealing its form. It swayed, and in the next instant, its body stretched to a terrifying length of 10,000 feet. From a distance, the sheer size of the dragon exuded an oppressive force. But at that moment, this pressure didn't have the slightest effect on Wang Lin. The dragon twisted its body, its forehead racked with pain, causing tears to form in its eyes. It hurts so much. I won't escape anymore. I surrender. I give up. Do whatever you want. I'm not running away, okay? Wang Lin's right hand relaxed. The seal dissipated, and he took a step forward. In an instant, he was standing on top of the flame dragon's head. The dragon tried to struggle, but as it remembered the excruciating pain on its forehead, it trembled in fear, unwilling to resist. Instead, its eyes welled with tears, looking utterly pitiful. It glanced longingly toward the direction of the immortal dragon sect, the water in its eyes more pronounced. Goodbye, my immortal dragon sect. Damn it, I shouldn't have chosen this path. If I had known, sigh. Wang Lin sat cross-legged atop the dragon's massive head, feeling the heat emanating from its body as fiery waves surrounded him. His gaze extended far into the distance, where even his vision twisted under the influence of the heat. The few figures whose divine senses had gathered from the ancient stars, watching this scene, showed no surprise. They knew that despite the flame dragon's strength, comparable to the early stage of the third step of cultivation, against Wang Lin, it was still fragile. Had it been in the past, before Wang Lin knew of the cave mansion realm, he might have tried to tame this flame dragon, but it wouldn't have been like this. He wouldn't have struck with such decisive force, not wasting any time. This dragon was different from any demon beast Wang Lin had encountered. Not only could it speak, but it also had high intelligence. Even the netherworld beasts were inferior to it in this respect. It called itself the Celestial Dragon and had even created the Immortal Dragon sect, enslaving cultivators to serve it. All this proved that the dragon was extraordinary. Most importantly, within the dragon's body, there was a faint trace of immortal bloodline power. This power was subtle, hard to detect unless examined closely. However, with the immortal indestructible body bloodline merging into his forehead, Wang Lin was able to faintly perceive it. Standing on top of the dragon's giant head, Wang Lin's gaze flickered as he observed the flame dragon beneath him. There were still 3 hours left until the final day of the 3 years, and those 3 hours were more than enough for Wang Lin to learn a few things from this dragon. Immortal Firmament Continent, is that your homeland? Wang Lin's divine sense enveloped the dragon, and he suddenly sent out a mental inquiry. The flame dragon froze in shock, blinking its massive eyes, then quickly shook its head. Wang Lin's gaze grew colder as he raised his right hand. A soul-searching aura immediately began to form around his hand. He stared at the flame dragon and slowly sent out another mental inquiry. With your intelligence, you should understand the power of my technique. I'll ask you again. Are you from the immortal firmament continent? Fear appeared in the flame dragon's eyes, but for some reason, it glanced over at the group of over 1,000 immortal dragon sect cultivators in the distance, then gritted its teeth and shook its head once more. Wang Lin furrowed his brows. He couldn't perform the soul search technique just yet. This was the ancient stars, with several mighty beings watching through their divine senses. If he used soul search, it would provide others with an opportunity to strike. That would interfere with his plans for 3 hours from now. His gaze turned colder. Wang Lin decided to stop the soul search technique and send the flame dragon into the storage dimension, intending to interrogate it later after dealing with matters in the ancient immortal domain. Just as he was about to disperse the soul search technique, the dragon's pleading voice echoed in his mind. Could you show me some mercy? You see, my disciples are all watching me. How about this? You give me some face, cooperate with me, and I promise I'll tell you everything you want to know, okay? Wang Lin was momentarily stunned, his expression quickly turning strange. He glanced at the flame dragon beneath him, and after a long while, he nodded. Upon seeing Wang Lin's consent, the flame dragon immediately rejoiced. Its expression grew serious, and its massive body shook violently. It soared up from beneath Wang Lin, floating into the starry sky. Its eyes gleamed with brilliance, exuding an imposing aura. The giant dragon claw pointed at Wang Lin, and the flame dragon's voice rumbled through the air. You said you want to join my immortal dragon sect, right? Fine. I, the immortal dragon, will show mercy and not hold your previous offense against you. I will let you join my immortal dragon sect. As it spoke, the flame dragon kept a close watch on Wang Lin's expression. When it saw his brow furrow, it immediately shuddered, hurriedly continuing. Someone like you, a strong cultivator, joining the immortal dragon sect, is actually my blessing, right? Ha. You can be the vice sect leader. Upon hearing this, the over 1,000 cultivators in the distance, who had been shocked by the previous scenes, froze for a moment, their faces filled with fear. Before they could fully react to this sudden change, the flame dragon turned its large head and immediately focused on the group of cultivators. It let out a fierce roar. All right, go back now. This immortal dragon needs to guide the vice sect leader's cultivation. Once I'm done, I'll return, and you all better watch over the sect. Although the 1,000 cultivators were filled with doubts in their hearts, they dared not show them. Instead, they put on the respectful look that the flame dragon liked, hurriedly cupping their fists and retreating, transforming into shooting stars as they left. Once all the cultivators had gone far, the flame dragon's imposing demeanor vanished instantly, replaced by an awkward air. Just as it was about to speak, Wang Lin stepped forward, standing before the flame dragon's head. In a single movement, he swirled it up and returned to the spot in the starry sky where he had been meditating earlier. Master, this little dragon really comes from the immortal firmament continent. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Little dragon guarantees I'll tell you everything without holding back. The flame dragon's eyes showed a flattering expression, quickly transmitting a thought. How did you come from the immortal firmament continent to here? Wang Lin sat down cross-legged, atop the flame dragon. I came with my previous master, along with that damnable guy. We came together. That damnable guy knew my master trusted me more, and he couldn't accept it. He heard about a treasure in the Seven Paths sect, so he tricked my former master into coming here. I'm loyal to my master, so of course, I couldn't let my master come alone. I followed him here. The flame dragon seemed furious, and when it sent out its thoughts, its gaze subconsciously darted around, as though a little fearful. Hearing this, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed sharply. He lowered his gaze, studying the flame dragon for a long while. Eventually, the flame dragon felt a chill run down its spine, its heart racing. It trembled as it sent out another thought. I'm telling the truth. Well, there's a bit of a lie in there. I didn't come out of loyalty to protect my master. I came because my previous master was riding me. Wang Lin's heart trembled, and a subtle guess began to form in his mind. What is your name? You can call me Little Red, Master. That's my nickname. The flame dragon shook its head proudly, its whiskers swaying as it transmitted its thoughts. Little Red. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly flashed with brilliance. He stared intently at the flame dragon, his mind whirling. The words of a madman from years ago echoed in his mind. Little Red, where are you? All of this king's things are with Little Red. Go ask Little Red for them. Little Red, hurry and find my brother. Tell him, I've been bullied. Under Wang Lin's piercing gaze, The flame dragon not only felt uneasy, but its heart also raced. It didn't know why those words had triggered such a response, and in its fear, it was about to transmit a thought. Lian Daofei, who are you? Wang Lin's divine sense slowly stirred. Upon hearing the name Lian Daofei, the flame dragon froze in place. You know my master? Lian Daofei was my former master, but sadly, he's dead. Just as I thought. Wang Lin's heart wavered. He stopped asking questions, and with a flick of his sleeve, he sucked the flame dragon into the storage rift. He couldn't continue questioning. The final moment was drawing near. Time was short, and he needed to maintain his composure. Only in such a state could he unleash the full power of his cultivation. At this moment, what he needed most was tranquility. The flame dragon's words had already revealed too much information, and if they continued, it would be hard for Wang Lin to remain calm. Now that he had stored the flame dragon away, he sat cross-legged in the starry sky, his eyes closed, suppressing the storm raging within him. Time passed. Surrounded by the ancient stars, several figures enveloped by divine senses speculated endlessly. Slowly, 3 hours passed. As the last of those 3 hours ticked by, Wang Lin's eyes suddenly snapped open. The 3-year deadline had arrived. This day also marked exactly 100 years since the war between the inner and outer realms had begun. The 4 great generals of the ancient immortal domain did not disappoint Wang Lin. The deal they had made with him was about to unfold today. As the final moment passed, the starry sky fell into an eerie silence. The divine senses gathered around Wang Lin remained unaware of the profound changes that had just occurred within and beyond the realm after the passage of a single breath. The first signs of this upheaval appeared in the inner realm's Kungsu. Kungsu star domain stretched endlessly across the vast starry sea, where the dazzling domain radiated waves of multicolored light, soft and pervasive, brightening the dark expanse of space like a blooming flower. In the midst of this starry nebula, beneath the most beautiful radiance, a sudden booming sound pierced the silence of the cosmos. The booming was deep, muffled, as if it came from behind a door, an immense, invisible barrier that trembled under the force of someone or something trying to break through. It felt as though a giant was desperately pounding on this door, trying to shatter it and step through. The reverberating booms reached the Zheohe star domain. The same low, booming sound echoed in Kungsu and Zheohe, and in the 4 great star domains within the inner realm, the Sea of Clouds, Luotian, and others. This sound resonated in unison. The deafening noise first struck at the very first breath, reaching its peak by the 5th, shaking the entire starry sky of the realm, reverberating through every cultivation star, and even into the ears of every living being. At that moment, countless creatures in the realm, whether mortal or ferocious beasts, were shaken. Even the plants quivered, lost in confusion. On a desolate, uninhabited wild star, home to many beasts that lived for generations, hunting in the grasslands or slaughtering in the rainforests, everything went still. As the booming sound reached the ears of the beasts, whether it was the fierce tiger devouring its prey or the giant snake poised to swallow a small animal, the beasts froze, eyes wide, staring up at the sky. The small animal that had not yet perished forgot its struggle and, in a daze, gazed up at the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The sound became earth-shattering, almost maddening by the 8th breath, causing the entire starry sky to tremble, sending countless ripples across the 4 great star domains. At this moment, it seemed as if countless ancient beings from the immortal domain were roaring. Their howls were the source of the deafening noise. In the Zheohe star domain, on a cultivation star with only a handful of cultivators, less than a few dozen, their faces went pale with terror as the thunderous sound rattled their very souls. They had no idea what was happening, but the booming sound had reached deep within their minds, leaving them paralyzed with fear. Could the outer realm be invading again? The cultivators were horrified. As they tried to ascend, the ground trembled, and a force from the heavens pressed them back down with immense pressure, pinning them to the earth. By the 11th breath, the booming sound from the 4 great star domains turned into a palpable aura of pressure. This pressure came from the ancient past, carrying with it an overwhelming aura of time and power, spreading throughout the realm. It felt as if the ancient beings had returned. In the Luotian star domain, where no cultivators remained, only mortals populated the land. The cities that should have been lively suddenly fell into an eerie silence. An elderly man selling drinks at a stall, and the dozen or so mortals sipping alcohol, suddenly noticed that the sky, once bright and clear, darkened swiftly. With the sound of booming echoing through the air, all the mortals collapsed unconscious, their vision going black. As the mortals fell into oblivion, they could not witness the transformation of the sky. The once bright sky was consumed by darkness, pushing all light away and plunging the world into night. By the 16th breath, the 4 great star domains were entirely engulfed in darkness. Every cultivation star and continent became a void of light. At the 17th breath, the first sign of the cataclysm appeared in the Xun'er star domain's sky. A sound louder than any before erupted, shaking the heavens, as if the gates of the world had been torn open. The sky in Xun'er ripped apart, and from the crack, the roars of countless ancient beings surged forth. The powerful aura of the ancient immortal domain swept out like a violent current. Amidst the low, excited howls, savage eyes glared from the crack, and withering hands reached out, as if countless beings behind the rift were unleashing all their power, madly trying to tear through the starry fabric of the sky. At this moment, massive rifts suddenly appeared in the starry skies of the 3 major star domains, Zhao River, Luotian, and Sea of Clouds. These 4 rifts tore through the starry curtain, bringing with them the ancient aura. The ancient era was about to awaken. In the Luotian star domain's thunder immortal realm, the war ghost suddenly rose from his meditation. His expression changed, and he stepped forward, unexpectedly exiting the thunder immortal realm and appearing within the Luotian star domain. His eyes glowed with a strange light as he fixed his gaze on the torn rifts in the starry sky, his eyes flashing with cold light. Ancient immortal domain. The rifts in the 4 star domains shifted simultaneously, emitting a thunderous roar that shook the heavens and the earth. The rifts expanded wildly, heading forward. On the 19th breath, the entire realm seemed to split apart. The 4 rifts swept across the starry sky, converging at the junction of the 4 star domains, directly above the new immortal realm. With a loud crash, the 4 rifts collided and overlapped, forming a massive X shape in the sky. The ancient aura surged forth, and excited roars echoed through the air. In that instant, all the light in the realm collapsed. For a moment, the realm was plunged into complete darkness. The boundless light was sucked away, and after an extremely strange transformation, it gathered outside the 4 rifts, bursting forth in a blinding radiance. Thunderous booms echoed, shaking the silver river outside the new immortal realm, and the immortal realm within vibrated with a deep hum. Cultivators within the realm, their expressions changing dramatically, all looked up toward the sky. Qinglin's face turned pale, and he rose into the air, heading straight for the starry sky. This is the aura of the ancient immortal domain. The ancient immortal domain is returning. Red Fur Master, Southern Cloud Master, Qing Shui, let's go and pay respects to the ancient immortals. Qinglin said as 3 long rainbows flew from the immortal realm, revealing Red Fur Master, Southern Cloud Master, and Qing Shui. The 4 transformed into long rainbows, heading straight for the starry sky. Below them, many cultivators from the realm looked up in awe. A massive statue stood atop the highest peak of the immortal realm. This statue had been moved from Vermilion Birdstar during the past 3 days and placed here to be worshipped by generations. As Qinglin and the others broke through the silver river of the immortal realm and stood in the starry sky, they looked up at the X-shaped rift. Even Qing Shui's face showed respect. Let alone Qinglin, none of them dared to show even the slightest disrespect. The ancient immortals were like deities to these old cultivators. Only Situ Nan, among the many cultivators below, stared intently at the sky. The words of Wang Lin echoed in his mind. He hadn't shared this with anyone, and now, as he looked at the ancient rift, there was no trace of reverence in his heart, only a deep and complex confusion. The ancient immortal domain, after disappearing for eons, was returning to the world. From within the X-shaped rift, there came a deafening roar. Finally, with a loud bang, the rift was completely torn open. As the rift split, the surrounding light gathered and solidified into a massive rectangular light block. Then another light block appeared, followed by hundreds of them, all emerging simultaneously. These light blocks spiraled around one another, forming an enormous staircase that floated layer by layer. After the staircase appeared, figures radiating golden light emerged from the rift. Their eyes shone with excitement, and soon, dozens of such figures soared through the sky. Finally, we've come out. Now that our cultivation has been restored, we immortals are returning once more. A chorus of roars echoed from the dozens of golden figures, and each of them radiated the aura of the third step of cultivation. This aura subtly differed from that of cave mansion cultivators, though it was difficult to explain exactly how. More golden figures followed, speeding out of the rift. From a distance, this sight was truly shocking. Qing Lin and the others, closest to the scene, stood solemnly beneath the golden radiance, especially Red Fur Master and Southern Cloud Master, who kept cupping their fists in respect. But compared to them, Qing Lin was the most excited. He took a step forward, cupped his fists, and respectfully addressed the golden figures. Sealing Venerable's disciple, Qing Lin pays respects to the ancient immortals. However, his presence and words did not draw any attention from the ancient immortals. Laughing wildly, each of them turned into golden light and passed right by Qing Lin and the others, heading straight for the new immortal realm. I haven't devoured devotional power in so long. Though the incense here is faint, it can still somewhat quench my endless craving. Devotional power, there's devotional power here. Haha, I didn't expect to wake up and find devotional power right in front of me. That's Sealing Venerable's disciple, you're good. These immortals roared as they sped toward the new immortal realm, and the sight made Qing Lin and the others tremble with shock. At this moment, someone broke through the door, intending to destroy his home. Regardless of who this person was, even if they were an ancient immortal, Qing Shui would still kill them. Qing Shui's body swayed as he rushed forward. Hong Shanzi and Nan Yunzi were momentarily stunned, but their expressions instantly changed. After a brief hesitation, they gritted their teeth and simultaneously stepped forward. Qing Lin froze in place. His struggle was the fiercest, but when his gaze fell upon the dozens of immortals laughing wildly as they tore open the Silver River, causing a massive rift in it that exposed tens of thousands of outer realm cultivators below, all with terrified expressions, Qing Lin let out a roar and took a step forward. Stop! Ancient immortals, this is my immortal realm. Qing Lin growled as he moved forward, but before he could finish speaking, 7 or 8 of the immortals turned sharply, their eyes gleaming with an oppressive golden light. They raised their right hands and waved them violently toward the four. The sound of explosions shook the heavens. A golden storm, infused with the power of the immortal bloodline, erupted suddenly, sweeping toward the four. Amid the booming sound, Qing Lin and the others trembled, their bodies shaking violently. Such boldness, daring to stop us immortals from absorbing incense power. One of them sneered, his voice laced with boundless arrogance and a sense of lofty superiority. The golden storm contained a powerful suppressive force from the immortal bloodline, which, for cultivators within the immortal realm, could overwhelm the soul itself. It was like a natural enemy, shrouding Qing Lin, Shui Daozi, and Nan Yunzi. Their hearts shook as they staggered backward. But this bloodline power had no effect on Qing Shui. It was as if he didn't even notice it. He charged directly through the golden storm, a murderous intent erupting from him as he headed straight for the dozens of immortals ahead. However, his speed was still slightly slower. The first few immortals to enter the immortal realm had already appeared in the sky of the realm. They looked down at the tens of thousands of terrified cultivators and laughed loudly. Several of them dispersed their bloodline power, suppressing the ground and causing those thousands of cultivators to freeze in place, unable to move. Some leaped down, and one of them grabbed a Zhao River female cultivator, pulling her to his mouth to suck the incense power from her. With a single suck, he could transform her into incense and absorb her into his body. But in that instant, one of the ancient immortals, still laughing wildly, released his divine sense. The moment his divine sense expanded, his laughter abruptly stopped. His eyes bulged, and his expression filled with unimaginable terror. In that terror, he let out a high-pitched scream. The scream echoed through the air, instantly freezing all the other immortals. The one holding the female cultivator let go reflexively, raising his head to look at the one who screamed. His statue. There's his statue. The shrill voice reverberated. All the dozens of immortals in the new immortal realm and the others arriving from behind froze. Their divine senses spread out, and upon seeing the statue atop a distant mountain, the faces of all the immortals turned pale as they gasped in horror. The immortal holding the female cultivator released his grip, his face turning ashen. It's him. How could his statue be here? This sudden revelation left all the immortals stunned, unable to forget the power of the arrow from 3 years ago in the ancient immortal domain. At this moment, Xun'er suddenly snapped to his senses. Without hesitation, he raised his right hand and flipped it, revealing a jade slip. This jade slip was given to him by Wang Lin, the vermilion bird, 3 years ago when they met at the Xun'er star, after learning about the cave mansion realm. Before leaving, Wang Lin had given him this slip and told him that if an ancient immortal arrived and began slaughtering cultivators from within the realm, he was to crush the jade slip. Xun'er crushed the jade slip. The instant it shattered, Wang Lin's aura exploded out from within. The aura was instantly familiar to all the immortals, and the moment it appeared, all the immortals shot into the sky, turning to look. In the sky, amidst a distortion, a figure in white gradually materialized. It was Wang Lin. The jade slip contained a fragment of his divine sense. Though it was a phantom form, the coldness radiating from his eyes spread like a storm. Zhuke, Xuanwu, Qinglong, Baihu, is this the promise you spoke of? Wang Lin's eyes flashed with coldness as he glared at the immortals in the sky. He waved his sleeve and let out a low growl. Get out! With that roar, a wave of killing intent erupted. The memory of that moment stirred within the immortals, and as the roar echoed, all the immortals turned pale and quickly retreated. In the blink of an eye, they had all fled the immortal realm. Outside the immortal realm, among the dozens of immortals arriving one after another, there was an elderly figure who was none other than the Azure Dragon. His expression was grim as he glared fiercely at those who had previously breached the immortal realm. With a cold grunt, he stepped forward and cupped his hands towards the immortal realm, speaking in a deep voice. I, the old man, have failed to manage things properly and arrived a step too late. I hope my fellow Taoist can forgive me. This matter will be addressed. Thankfully, no casualties have occurred. Please, calm your anger. Our deal stands as before. As people from the ancient immortal domain, we will not harm a single cultivator from the inner realm. The ancient stars beyond the realm, Wang Lin sat cross-legged, his eyes flashing with cold light. He had anticipated this outcome long ago, which is why he had left behind the jade slip. With his divine sense, he saw the ancient immortals who had entered the immortal realm retreating in a disheveled state. Just as he was about to speak, his expression suddenly shifted, and he looked towards the distance. Without any hesitation, Wang Lin stood up and swiftly headed towards the distant stars. The ancient immortal domain was originally one unified entity, later splitting into 2 parts, one in the inner realm and one in the outer realm. However, they still maintained a connection. The opening of the ancient immortal domain in the inner realm would cause the ancient immortal domain in the outer realm to open as well. Although there were formation barriers, the great powers of the ancient stars beyond the realm could still sense the drastic changes within the inner realm, especially the Palm Sovereign, whose eyes were filled with disbelief. In that instant, he realized what Wang Lin was about to do. Not good. He's actually going to use the combined strength of both domains to destroy the ancient immortal domain in the outer realm. He's gone mad. He must have learned everything and realized that this is just the cave mansion realm. The Palm Sovereign's face turned pale, and with a sudden flicker, he shot towards the starry sky. In this moment, it wasn't just him. All the great powers who had gathered their divine senses around Wang Lin understood, almost simultaneously, what he was about to do. Wang Lin unleashed his full speed, and in an instant he crossed vast distances, appearing in a star domain where massive cracks were tearing through the starry sky. This star domain was filled with countless cracks, from which booming sounds emanated. As the cracks crisscrossed, the moment Wang Lin appeared, the starry sky of this domain collapsed with a deafening roar, as if the heavens were falling. A massive gap appeared in the sky. An ancient aura spread wildly from this gap, and at the same time, a series of manic laughter echoed. Golden light shadows walked out of the gap. These light shadows were also ancient immortals, disciples of the Seven Paths sect. However, they no longer followed the orders of the Rainbow Tao Sovereign, but instead, they obeyed his immortal consort. Or more accurately, they obeyed the Tao companion who had been abandoned by the Rainbow Immortal Venerable during a time of crisis to save her life. Had it not been for that Tao companion's command, the disciples of the Seven Paths sect would never have followed the immortal consorts. This, in fact, was one of the root causes of the great battle in the Cave Mansion realm back then. Their presence was the ultimate trump card of those immortal consorts. So now, upon realizing Wang Lin's objective, the seventh consort's expression changed drastically as she rushed toward Wang Lin. Even the third consort's heart trembled, and she hurried over. Inside the gap in the starry sky, the manic laughter reverberated, and the golden figures flew out. But as they flew out, they all instantly saw a white-haired, white-robed cultivator standing outside, with his eyes closed, seemingly waiting for them. They didn't recognize Wang Lin, and though his cultivation was profound, to them, he posed no threat or importance. As they laughed wildly, the immortals' eyes gleamed with excitement and fervor, shaking the surroundings with their roars. Finally, we've come out. Now that we've appeared, the four great generals will certainly come out too. Kill them all. With their Tao legacy, we can rebuild the Seven Paths sect. We not only need to kill them, but we must also destroy all the beings in this Cave Mansion realm. Only then can we reopen the Cave Mansion. As these golden immortals roared, one by one, they flew out. One of them, with a cruel look in his eyes, shot toward Wang Lin. His speed was incredible, and in an instant, he was right next to Wang Lin. Raising his right hand, he sneered and growled. "Your luck is bad, little cultivator. You came right into my hands. I'll absorb you and turn you into incense." Ordinary cultivators from the immortal Aura continent, common disciples of the Seven Paths sect, dare to call themselves immortals? Wang Lin opened his eyes, and in an instant, a burst of golden light shot out from his gaze. This golden light was the essence of the immortal bloodline he had fused with after obtaining the immortal indestructible body's bloodline, pure and extremely potent. Upon seeing the golden light in Wang Lin's eyes, the charging immortal was stunned. His expression changed drastically, and after a brief pause, he instinctively retreated. A terrifying sense of danger rumbled in his mind. "Who are you?" Wang Lin's eyes were filled with a golden light, and with his left hand raised, he reached out into the void. In a flash, the Li Guang Bao shot forward, landing directly into his grasp. Raising his right hand, he pulled back the bowstring and, with a fierce yank, released it. With a deep hum, the Li Guang Bao took the shape of a full moon. The terrifying arrow, feared by countless people, appeared on the bowstring amidst ripples and distortion. As soon as the arrow appeared, the heavens and earth trembled, and the stars shook. The retreating immortal was stunned for a moment. When he saw the Bao clearly, a familiar expression appeared in his eyes. This Bao, it looks so familiar. This Bao? Li Guang Bao. The immortal's expression changed drastically the moment he recognized it, his body trembling as disbelief filled his eyes. He instinctively let out a scream of fear and began to retreat madly. He knew this Bao, and he knew the devastating power of the arrow once drawn. It was a treasure so formidable in his homeland, the immortal firmament continent, that it could shake the hearts of people and had terrifying, despair-inducing destructive power. At this moment, he suddenly understood. Wang Lin's appearance here was precisely to wait for the opening of the ancient immortal domain, to wait for the moment they stepped out, and then use this Bao to kill. Who is he? The immortal retreated desperately, his mind focused solely on escaping, fleeing. The sudden change immediately drew the attention of the other immortals, but when they all saw the Bao in Wang Lin's hands, and felt the tremors in the starry sky from the bowstring being pulled, their expressions changed in unison. Li Guang Bao. It's actually the Li Guang Bao. In a panic, the immortals who had emerged from the gap began to retreat frantically, trying to return to the ancient immortal domain. For them, encountering a person who could draw the Li Guang Bao just as they stepped out was like a nightmare. But no matter how fast they moved, it was not enough to escape the wrath of the Li Guang Bao. Even the Palm Sovereign could not escape its power, and neither could they. Wang Lin, having already drawn the bao, gripped the string tightly with his left hand and, with a low growl, exerted more force. The bao, now nearly bent to the breaking point in his hands, looked as if it might snap. He stared at the retreating immortals, a murderous intent surging in his eyes. His target was clear, the immortals of the Seven Paths sect. Those who had seen the cave abode realm cultivators as nothing more than ants and were arrogant beyond belief. You are no different from those of the Lightning Thunder clan. Wang Lin suddenly released his right hand, and a tremendous sound rang out, shaking the entire starry sky. The bowstring snapped back, sending a colossal force into the arrow, which whizzed forward. The sound of the arrow's flight was enough to split the heavens. The Li Guang arrow, with its overwhelming force, shattered the very fabric of the heavens and earth. The starry sky trembled as the arrow tore through it with such speed that it seemed to arrive in an instant. The immortal at the front, who had tried to kill Wang Lin, shrank back in fear, his pupils constricting. He screamed in panic, but there was no place to hide. His body was instantly obliterated, pierced through by the arrow, annihilating both his form and soul. He was not the first immortal firmament cultivator Wang Lin had killed, nor would he be the last. As the arrow shot forward, it expanded into a size of several thousand feet, still growing rapidly. The dozens of immortals who had emerged from the gap in the ancient immortal domain turned pale. In comparison to the speed of the arrow, their movements were as slow as babies crawling while adults ran. With a thunderous boom, 3 immortals' bodies shattered, their screams echoing as they died. Another explosion followed, and 4 more immortals' bodies trembled before they were torn apart. Their souls barely escaped before being shattered and vanishing into the realm they had once scorned. The arrow, glowing with golden light, illuminated the starry domain and spread outward, with the continuous sound of thunder booming. In the blink of an eye, 8 more immortals met a tragic end. Just moments ago, they had been overjoyed at leaving the immortal domain, but now that joy had become the cause of their demise. The arrow, with earth-shattering speed, killed all the immortals who had emerged from the gap, heading straight for it. In a flash, it vanished into the gap, and a tremendous roar echoed, followed by intense shaking and collapse within. The shockwave from the collapse swept out in all directions from the center, its ferocity strong enough to alter the trajectory of the cultivation star. Yet, it could not move Wang Lin's ancient divine body. Wang Lin's hair whipped violently in the wind, and his clothes flapped loudly. But his eyes remained unwavering, as steady as his body. He was here to kill. One arrow was not enough. Within the ancient immortal domain, Wang Lin had no knowledge of how many Seven Paths sect immortals existed or how many of them possessed heavenly cultivation. However, he understood that with his Li Guang Bao, he might not be able to destroy all of them. But he could collapse the gate of the ancient star domain, forcing it to close again. This would rob these cultivators of their opportunity to leave, ensuring they could never escape. At the moment the first arrow was released, within the ancient stars, the Palm Sovereign's body paused suddenly from thousands of miles away. He stared ahead, and a look of delight appeared in his eyes. This is beneficial for me as well. I've calculated that he only has enough strength for 2 shots. He's already wasted 1. If he shoots again, he will surely die today. Wang Lin, if you really shoot a second time, you will only be helping me. If I don't kill you, then I'm no longer the Palm Sovereign. I will take your surname. The Palm Sovereign laughed loudly, his body swaying as he stepped forward. After taking only a few steps, his joy surged again. His laughter echoed, carrying with it the suppressed resentment of 3 years. The second shot, he really did shoot the second arrow. Wang Lin, you're dead for sure this time. I'll first seal the ancient stars so you can't leave, and then slowly kill you. The Palm Sovereign didn't hesitate. With a wave of his hands, he used his formidable cultivation to seal off the star domain. This seal didn't prevent anyone from entering, but it blocked anyone from leaving. After completing the seal, the Palm Sovereign's body vanished in an instant, moving forward with incredible speed. Meanwhile, the seventh immortal consort's face turned pale. She staggered, her eyes filled with intense hatred as she glared ahead, her silver teeth nearly grinding to dust. Wang Lin, I will kill you. The melodious Immortal Venerable and the Nine Heavens Demon Venerable were also racing through the starry sky. Their hatred for Wang Lin was no less than that of the Palm Sovereign and the seventh immortal consort. Though they had not fully recovered from their injuries, nothing could stop their killing intent as they rushed toward Wang Lin, who was locked onto by their divine senses. With these people wanting to kill you, I don't believe you can survive. The melodious Immortal Venerable grinned viciously. I'll pull a strand of his soul out, light the heavenly lantern, and keep it burning for 10,000 years. I'll listen to his soul cry out in misery for all that time, and only then will my hatred be resolved. The Nine Heavens Demon Venerable's eyes shone with a cold, eerie light. Wang Lin had indeed drawn his second bow. This was the first time he had used the full power of the Li Guang bow in quick succession. Sweat beaded on his forehead, and the golden light from the immortal bloodline in his eyes rapidly faded. As he fully pulled back the bow, forming a crescent moon, the arrow aimed at the crack in the ancient immortal domain in front of him. As the arrow twanged, a ripple distorted the space, and the arrow reappeared, knocking itself on the string once more. The arrow was stained with blood, exuding a strong scent of bloodlust. He focused his eyes on the starry sky, where the crack in the ancient immortal domain had already collapsed from the impact of the first arrow, revealing the interior of the domain, which was in disarray. Countless fragments of stone floated in the crack, clearly showing how powerful the first arrow had been. Now, with the bow fully drawn, two powerful auras suddenly surged from the crack in the ancient immortal domain. Each of these auras was as strong as the Palm Sovereign's. With a resounding roar, they expanded from the crack. A murderous intent flickered in Wang Lin's eyes. His right hand suddenly thrust forward, the bowstring humming as it snapped back, and the second arrow flew. At the moment the second arrow was released, the golden light in Wang Lin's eyes collapsed completely, especially in his left eye, where it vanished entirely. His right eye still retained a faint trace of golden light, but that too quickly faded, leaving only uncertainty about whether it was hidden or completely dissipated. The arrow shot out, and as it entered the crack in the ancient immortal domain, an enormous force of suction exploded from the arrowhead. The force twisted around the shaft, and as the arrow entered the crack, it caused the opening to rapidly shrink. Once the arrow was fully within, the crack collapsed with a deafening boom. The collapse shattered the gap, sealing off the exit from the outer ancient immortal domain. The passage was destroyed, and all possibilities for leaving were severed. Only the muffled rumble of the collapse echoed through the starry sky, and the two powerful auras from the crack were instantly blocked, unable to escape a single trace. Faintly, the rumbling sound grew more distant. Wang Lin's two arrows, the full force of the Li Guang bow, were now a nightmare for all those in the outer ancient immortal domain who witnessed it. Because of the mysterious connection between the outer ancient immortal domain and the inner ancient immortal domain, four of the great generals in the inner domain floated in the air, their expressions grave. They could faintly sense a terrifying power, as if the sky above them was about to collapse, like a mirror revealing the disastrous scenes of the outer ancient immortal domain. Scenes that looked like the end of the world. This child, it's better we don't provoke him. After a long pause, the Azure Dragon General let out a deep breath, his eyes filled with wariness. He definitely doesn't only have the strength of two bows left. He's no fool. On the contrary, his intelligence is almost monstrous. How could he let others easily probe his limits? I suspect he still has at least the strength of 3 bows. The Black Tortoise General fell silent for a moment before slowly speaking. The 4 of them exchanged glances and nodded in agreement. Within the ancient stars of antiquity, at the moment when Wang Lin unleashed 2 bows of power, a hollow, chilling laugh echoed from behind him. Suddenly, the The figure of the Palm Sovereign appeared thousands of meters away, his eyes filled with murderous intent as he walked toward Wang Lin.